Laura, how are managers dealing with team members who have children at home and it looks like they may be homeschooling again in full? I know we're getting a lot of mixed messages. Some are going 100%, some are doing sort of a hybrid. So what advice can you give people like Rachel and I?
Yeah, so I mean, I think some of it is what we said before about communicating and asking the question. So anybody that has children on your team, we're kind of advising you to do three things. One is call them up and say, what are your plans for the fall? What's going on? How are you feeling about it? And then listening. Hear what they say. Question number two is, what could I do to support you? Especially if what you hear is this is really difficult, right? What can I do to support you? There are companies doing all kinds of things. There are companies creating little groups for kids to study together, and they're hiring someone to like man the group. There's all kinds of creative things being done. And maybe some of the other suggestions are around job sharing. So you've got that parent who in a lot of cases, from statistics, still tends to be the mom. We're calling them the working COVID moms who are trying to manage their 6 and 7-year-old to get them on Zoom to go to school, and then they're doing work till 3 in the morning. And they've been doing it for a while because they want to keep up with their job and their career that they've put so much time into, and something's got to give, right? They're not seeing an end in sight. So it's helping them realize you're not going to kick them to the curb. They're not going to lose ground that they've gained. We're not going to go back as a society to, you know, women not being equal because they've had to take care of their kids for 2 years at home. You know, God, I hope it's not 2 years. I didn't really say that. But honestly, we're saying, what can we do to help still give you meaningful projects, but be flexible because we know the reality of what you're living in because you've just shared that with us. So, you know, might a job share work with you? What kinds of projects are you able to do that have those start, stop as you're on and off school with your kid during the day? You know, what kind of client interaction are you able to have? And really having that conversation. And then the next step would be to try something. So I suggest to the business owners that you don't say, okay, this is the new way forever, but that you say, you know, Rachel, I heard what you said about that. It sounds really difficult. You wanted us to allow you to work, you know, 20 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week. Why don't we try that for the next month and see how it works? And let's get back together at the end of the month and talk about what went well, what didn't go well, what's dropping. So whether it's flexible hours, you know, setting goals like Rachel said, and Donna, telling them this is the end result I want, but I'm okay with you getting there whatever way you get there, and maybe the timeline gets spread out a little bit longer than normal to try to accommodate your situation, you know, or a job share. But try it and see how it works, and then come back together and ask the questions again and modify. So those are some of the things we're working with clients on.
That's important. And what you guys have been saying about explaining why, and during that conversation, not only are you working on communication, but like you said, Laura, you'll come to find that maybe that's where they do get to be creative because they're naive. So they get to look at things from a different lens and say, you know, well, maybe we should do it this way. And that doesn't mean that you always have to accept, you know, their suggestion, but at least you get to hear them and you get to open up your mind and learn.